All the viewers at home who are watching, and also recognize that within our midst this morning we have Deputy Minister of Arts and Culture, Dr. Joe Phatla, the Director General, Mr. Sibusiso Taba. There are also chairpersons and CEOs of our agencies who are present this morning, business leaders, ladies and gentlemen. Peter, thank you very much for allowing me this opportunity, and also to thank New Age Telecom, the sponsors. I want to start by indicating that we had our budget yesterday, and I've mentioned a number of things that we will be doing this year and the coming years. But firstly, let me start by pointing out that indeed arts and culture is the soul of the nation. And we have decided that it's important that we put it at the center stage of what we do, because through arts and culture we promote social cohesion, we promote nation building, and also in the context of South Africa, national healing. And that for us is very important. But we have also gone beyond that to say one of the challenges facing South Africa is to ensure that we create a prosperous nation. And therefore, issues of growing the economy and creating jobs are quite critical. And that's the reason why we have decided to begin to look at initiatives that really assist in driving growth in the economy and also creating jobs. A year ago, we came up with the concept of Mzansi Golden Economy, and basically what we were saying there is that whilst primarily our economy was driven by mining and other primary commodities, we now want to look at the creative economy as a way of driving growth and creating jobs. So we see the cultural industries and the creative industries broadly as our new gold, as an area that is going to drive growth in the coming years. Hence, we came up with the concept of Mzansi Golden Economy as a way of looking at how can the arts and culture sector contribute to this major task of creating jobs, particularly the target of government of 5 million jobs over the next 10 years. So we have introduced a number of high impact programs. And firstly, let me indicate that in order to be able to succeed with the Mzansi Golden Economy, you need skills in the sector. And one of the decisions we took was to establish what we call the National Skills Academy for the Arts, and also introduce arts education in schools. And through that initiative alone, in the next 3 years, we should be able to create about 3,000 new job opportunities. We are discussing with the Department of Education because they don't have teachers who are teaching arts in schools. So we said we will recruit those people and deploy them in the various schools in the country. So about 3,000 new job opportunities will be created through that approach. Some of you will recall last year when there was COP17 in Durban, we also took an opportunity there to be able to participate as arts and culture, and we piloted initiatives there, resulting in the creation of more than 8,000 direct work days over a 2-week period, which to us was very important. We are creating what we call a public art program. This is a very important program because it will assist to display arts and culture work in public buildings, but also including in our embassies overseas. We want to make sure that throughout the year you can see South African art in our buildings, in our embassies, and we estimate that this intervention alone will create 10,000 new work opportunities over the next 3 years. So it's a very important initiative for us. But this year in particular, we want to focus a lot on heritage. You'll recall that yesterday I mentioned that we are embarking on about 26 major projects across the country. And for us, that's very important. We have actually decided as Arts and Culture that 2012 is the year of heritage. And therefore, we will be embarking on major initiatives, particularly to capture liberation heritage. We will be honoring a lot of our heroes, people who made it possible for us to can sit here today and enjoy freedom and democracy. We need to honor them. We need to build museums, monuments to celebrate the contribution that they have made. So there are a number of projects that we are initiating. I'll just mention a few. In the Eastern Cape, these projects will include the refurbishment of the house of former president of the ANC, O.R. Tambo. We have put aside about 25 million rand for that project, which will include refurbishing the house, but also to do a statue. But when we do this projects, we also stimulate local economic activity. So we don't just build a museum or a monument, but we also make sure that there are job opportunities in the areas where we are doing these projects. Pondo Revolt Heritage Sites, we're putting about 15 million rands there to do that project. In KwaZulu-Natal, we have already launched the Dube Legacy projects. We put aside an amount of 60 million rand. We will be opening the Steve Biko Center in Ginsberg, also in the Eastern Cape, where we invested more than 170 million rand. Now, this project alone has created already more than 609 jobs. And a number of these projects are also creating a lot of small businesses that are beginning to inject life in local communities. We will also, sometime during the course of this year, maybe around July, also open the Matola Monument in Mozambique, where we've spent about 65 million rands. Many of you will recall that during the years of the struggle, there were people who were killed by the apartheid regime there. So we are putting an interpretation center and monument in Mozambique. We'll also work with correctional services. We need to begin to populate the Gallows Heritage Project, which they opened last year. But also as part of national healing, you will recall that we have announced that the Voortrekker Monument is now a heritage site as well. And we have linked Voortrekker Monument with the Freedom Park. So you can drive, when you visit the Freedom Park, you can also drive through and connect to Voortrekker Monument. Just about 2 weeks ago, the Deputy Minister went to Austria, where we fetched the remains of Klaas and Troy Pienaar from the San community. We know that they were removed here more than 100 years ago and taken for what they call research purposes in Austria. We were able to retrieve back their remains so that they can be once again decently buried in our country. This is really to give back dignity to the Khoi and the San communities as well. Okay, let me talk briefly about a matter that sometimes tends to be controversial, that's standardization of names or including name changes. Well, the Deputy Minister will speak later also on this matter. But just to say that we want to urge South Africans to get excited about this matter, because sometimes we don't understand why people have a difficulty. What we are saying is that there are names that are offensive. I think the chair of the portfolio committee yesterday mentioned one of the names. I can't really pronounce it, but like Kafferfontein or something like that. Now, you can't allow people to stay in areas that are called that. But also, it's not just about offensive names. Name changes is part of our transformation agenda. And what we are doing differently is to give people a choice. In the past, people were staying places where they had no choice as to what those places are named. So we are giving people an opportunity to have a choice. The important thing is the process. We must make sure that there is a discussion in the various communities before a name is finalized. And once that is done, let's allow the majority to prevail. Then there's languages. We are passing a bill through Parliament at the moment, and the emphasis really is multilingualism. Let's make sure that we use all our official languages, but in particular, we are saying those indigenous languages that have been diminishing needs to be given an opportunity as well to thrive. And that's really the essence of the bill. And I'm hoping that all parties in Parliament will work together to ensure that we pass the bill speedily. We are building libraries throughout the country. We've already spent more than R1 billion allocating resources to various provinces. But libraries are not just about buildings. We need to make sure that there are books in the libraries. There's material. I think one of our honorable members yesterday mentioned the issue that in some rural areas you don't get books in libraries. And that's where the private sector can come in to help us get books into libraries. We are also making sure that we promote the film industry. This year, we're going to be working on establishing the National Film Commission and the National Film Fund, because through film, we can generate a lot of employment. And we believe that is something that we need to work on. Then there's the music industry. Just recently, we facilitated cooperation between the Association of Independent Record Companies and the SABC. And the main thing for us really there is also to promote local content. We just want to make sure that the South African story is told through the public broadcaster. And we really applaud this cooperation between the Association of Independent Record Companies and the SABC. We've also impressed upon the SABC as well to actually look at this issue of needle time. And I'm sure many of you know what that means when artists produce their work, particularly musicians. When you play their records, whether on TV or on radios, they need to benefit from that. That is called needle time. We want to make sure that that is addressed. I think there are various organizations like SAMRO and them who are dealing with these issues, the Independent Association of Independent Record Companies as well. Let's make sure that the artists get paid for their work, for their creativity. And that's something that we will be pushing. In conclusion, we will be working hard as well together with DTI to make sure that we address the problem of piracy. Piracy is a big problem. in the industry, and I think we need to root it out, and we will be working hard to ensure that we deal with that problem as well. As I conclude, let me also mention that through the Mzansi Golden Economy Program, we've agreed that we should support initiatives throughout the country in all provinces. So you'll see that major events that are taking place are going to get the support of national government. Let me just mention a few. The National Arts Festival in Grahamstown will be supported nationally, the Cape Town International Jazz Festival, the Joy of Jazz in Johannesburg, the Diamonds Enduring in Kimberley, the Mangaung African Cultural Festival, the Northwest Calabash, and just recently, a week ago, we also supported the Summer Awards. We believe that these initiatives are critical in attracting tourists, whether domestic or international. And as tourists come into our areas, they spend money in those local areas, and therefore we are able to employ people, we are able to stimulate small businesses and so on. So we are promoting all these major events, and we've encouraged all provinces to come up with cultural precincts so that we are able to support them as well. So, Program Director, let me leave it there. There are a number of issues that we are dealing with that I won't go into today, like sorting out archives in the country and so on. But those are some of the key critical areas that we can talk about this morning. We are very excited that we have been able to put arts and culture on the agenda of our socio-economic development. And I'm very proud to announce that we have strong support of Cabinet and National Treasury. National Treasury has given us additional resources. I won't say how much, because whenever I say that, I get a lot of proposals requesting for money. But it is indeed exciting that we were able, once we've put our plans on the table, we're able to get resources to be able to roll out our program. We will still need more money because we need to build a National Skills Academy for the arts, so we need more resources. But we're getting somewhere. So we are not complaining about money. We will get money as and when we complete plans, and I think that's how National Treasury works. But we have the full support of Cabinet to ensure that the creative economy is the one that will help drive our growth strategy into the future. Let me leave it there for now so that we can allow engagements this morning with everybody. Thank you very much.